Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. Trying to get through all these leftover questions. Let's see. So Brenda Richardson left a comment, but it's one I can respond to. Ms. Richardson says the real reduction on the next vote on June 16th is actually $122,828, not $248,161. The pre-K was a separate article and was voted down. The upcoming vote has nothing to do with pre-K. It looks like to me you want to mislead the public. Hi, Ms. Richardson. Tina Rushton, who's actually in this line, but in another post someplace else on some other, I can't remember if it was on Happenings in Springfield or something. I posted something similar, and I had sent a message to her about the same thing. So two things. I know for a variety of reasons that if it feels like it's not clear, I know that you usually feel like something's up with the school district, and we're trying to hide something. We're trying to trick people. So let me walk you back through kind of what the thought process was about this number. So when we were going through the budget cycle in this year, the pre-K was really like the big thing that we wanted to get in there, and the pre-K was in there because we really thought it was going to fix some systems issues, and it was ultimately going to save us money in the long run. But the reality is, in looking back on what we tried to do, we rushed the conversation because we had some money from the state that we thought could offset a bunch of it. So we decided to go faster in trying to push through the proposal than we normally would, because we could get more than half of it paid for by the state and the feds. And so as a result of that, it was too fast, and people felt like it was not as well planned. They didn't like the setup of how we were going to move things between schools. So anyways, when we come back. So if you were there for some of our budget conversations, I know you were. I can't remember if you were there right at the end. So at the end of things, we were going to put forward one budget proposal only. And in fact, that's all we've ever done since I've been here. Even when I was in a different role in the district, there's only been one budget proposal that's gone forward ever. And we started thinking about, well, town puts out multiple budget proposals, and we know that if there's anything that's controversial about this particular budget, it was the pre-K. So we explored. We were trying to figure out legally, can we even split it out? We didn't even know if we could split it out. We didn't know if that was possible based on the state funding formula and stuff. So we had to go to a couple of attorneys to find out if we could. And then on the very last night, we could make a decision. That we had a conversation at the board about, well, do we just keep this together? Because really it's one proposal. This is what we want to spend in your schools. Part of that proposal is this is what we want to spend on pre-K, and here's why we think this is going to be a good thing. And I think there was a lot of people were already kind of reading the writing on the wall that if the budget went down, there was a good chance that at least a part of that was going to be people who were not happy with the structure of the pre-K proposal. There are a lot of people who are saying, I agree with pre-K, but the way in which you're doing, I'm not happy about. So what we were worried about was, as a board, and I say we, me working with the board, was if the budget goes down and everything's together, which is really, it's one proposal. If everything's together, how are we going to figure out why we think it went down? And how are we going to figure out what we think that means in relation to this major proposal pre-K, which is part of our strategic plan? And so on the very last night, with some debate, the discussion that we finally landed on, the board landed on, let's break it out. Let's break it out into two pieces, and at least we'll have an indicator from the community about these things. So there was never so we had a full amount of money that we were asking for from the taxpayers, which some of which was in pre-K and some of which was in everything but pre-K, but we always saw it as a single unified thing. So when we were talking about the reductions we were going to make, we know we had 122.8 that we were pulling out from other things. And then we discussed but we're also not going to spend this money on pre-K. And so why would we not tell people that we're not spending that money? And so that's what we decided to do. We decided to, and I'll be honest, I pushed that. I said, that was a significant part of what we were going to do. Why would we not say that we're not spending that money, because we're going to not spend close to $250,000 that we were planning to spend as our original budget proposal that we only broke out at the last minute. So, and so what we did is, because we were really concerned. It's funny that we're at this spot because we were concerned that night. It's like, oh, well, if people don't trust us, they're going to be like, there they are, slippery school district, lying about stuff again. If you look on the bottom of the postcard, that's why we have 248, 161 reduced. And I think it says, I don't have it right in front of me right now, including blah, 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 122, 124, whatever, 126 from pre-K. We put it right on there. It is, here's what we're saving overall. And that includes the stuff from pre-K. And we don't say, and that was a separate budget article. But we have had a couple of people who were concerned, this is an attempt to be slippery. And that's not what we're trying to do. So was there an attempt to kind of almost want to get credit for this other thing we're reducing? Sure. As a value judgment, do you feel like including that should be out? Then I appreciate that perspective, but I will tell you that it definitely was not done with some type of malice. This was just trying to communicate. And like I said, that's why we break it out. We say it, and then underneath it, we say, this is the portion that came from pre-K. So, Brenda, I hope there is a day where we get there where it doesn't feel like that you think we're trying to cheat people. But we're working on it, and I hope there will be a day. So, all right. Thanks for your question. I appreciate it.